Tonight, we are going to witness the most anticipated match in the history of professional wrestling for the heavyweight championship of the world. Are you ready? Wrestling fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, from the capital city of the United States of America, Washington, D.C., ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, brothers, sisters, friends, enemies, welcome to the stream, Oop, wrong sound effect. Welcome. Yes, someone posted on here already, Bible chatter. I saw your comment. Nobody to my knowledge deleted your comment. So Cheesecake, lost? I'm lost. What is this about? Your second comment must have been deleted. It wasn't deleted by me, and I don't think the moderators deleted it. So we're going to look at a brother Jaden. Welcome to the stream, brother. Welcome to the stream. We're going to look at a video that's floating around out there. There's So No God Milk. All right. Welcome. He's running late. I'll check back. Okay. I was running a little bit late, was I? All right. Sorry about that. Sister Anna's in the stream. Just welcoming everybody in right now. We're going to look at these dating videos that went viral, and we're going to give some consideration to what we're looking at. Hey, Rachel, welcome to the stream. Hey, Susie Q. Yeah, Bible chatter. I don't delete comments unless they're off the wall. So, yeah, too much. Heidi. Hi, Brother Rob and everyone. Hey, Heidi. Welcome to the stream. You guys have probably seen these already, and maybe Bible chatter, you haven't seen these videos we're going to look at. Sissies in the house. I saw this on Twitter. I thought it was, I thought it was a skit. No, it was legit. This was legit by all I can surmise. There's another one. My wife and I were looking at these. I'm still here. All right, thanks, Bible chatter. Thanks for hanging out. Give me a chance. You've seen it already. Well, we're gonna talk about it. Just this is the theme of warfare. I'm still playing unfortunately, I think it was real. I believe it was real. So we're going to get right into this. And what this is it was an individual who went on a first date with a man, and this is a date from hell. This is going to the Cheesecake Factory on a first date. Just got done praying and listening to you while walking down the tracks. Okay. Bible chatter. Are you I don't want to call you brother or sister. Are you a brother or a sister? Bible chatter, because I can't tell by your logo. So I seen Sister Jarena and Violet and Q did a video on this. I didn't really get to stay in there. It is so incredibly sad. Yes, it is. So we want to diagnose this as I'm wanting to break it down and kind of diagnose some red flags. If you're okay, brother. And this individual in here, I got some terms I want to break down. What we're looking at here in this video is a case of narcissism. This individual in question, I very much believe, has a case of narcissism. Let's bring up the video and start playing it. And again, this went viral on TikTok. A first date. Let's just go. Let's just go.
Almost there. Just need to find some parking.
Okay.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So this is the individual in question. Apparently, she was going live during her first date with this gentleman. And at first, I think initially he's unaware that she was going live. And I apologize for the attire this young lady is wearing. I'm just going to let it play. So in case you couldn't hear what she whispered, she said, Cheesecake Factory, y'all.
I'm just talking to my girls.
Okay. Tell them I said hi.
Yeah.
So he says, tell them I said hi. And she says, yeah. You're on a date with a person who is a narcissist. You do not realize this yet, but this date has nothing to do with you, sir. It has nothing to do with this man. At this point, this should be enough of a red flag to make you say, what's that phrase I use all the time? Bye, boo. This should make you say, bye, boo.
Let me just get the door for you.
Okay.
He's going to open her door. He's getting out of the car, going around the car to open her door.
He got me at the Cheesecake Factory, y'all. I ain't getting out this car.
She just locked her door. This man gets out of his car, walks around the car with the door unlocked. She locks the door and will not get out, but she'll roll her window down.
Yes.
Would you want me to open the door for you? Are you're recording me?
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at this dude. What's Rachel said here? I need my glasses on. Sister B's going to get on me. This is the world of secular dating. Just a silly, okay. What did Cheesecake Factory ever do to her? Right. Right. She doesn't want to go to the Cheesecake Factory. But this dude is just clueless as to what's going on here.
Yeah. This is the Cheesecake Factory. This is the Cheesecake Factory, y'all.
What's the problem with that?
This is a chain restaurant. Who takes someone that looks like this to a chain restaurant?
You want to talk about it? I'm fine with talking about it, even in front of them.
Oh, yeah, I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Come on, get up on in the car. Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
First of all, if you pick somebody up as a brother in the Lord who looks like this, my highest recommendation is that you would call it off right then and there. Right then and there. Because personally, that's a lack of modesty before she even says a word. Exactly. This is her show. This poor guy He's so patient through the whole interaction. He is patient. And in fact, I think he's more patient than he should have been. It gets worse. It gets progressively worse. Who takes somebody who, yeah, I wouldn't be seen with you like that. You know, I wouldn't even be seen with a person like this.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
yes, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
So you expect a man to go all out on the first date. Is that right?
I mean, you're supposed to. When you take out a beautiful woman and you're courting her, because I get courted.
Let me read some things off here real quick. Let me go up here. Before we go on, I want to read this off. Proverbs 16:18. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. What we're watching is going to be, every one of these Bible verses will be applicable here. Philippians 2:3. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves. Now, obviously, we don't think that these people are Christians, but look how the scripture is applicable for weeding out the wrong one. Brother Devo is in the house. Narcissist to the full. James 4:6 says, but he gives us more grace. That's what this man truly exemplified a lot of grace in this video. That is why the scripture says God opposes the proud, but he shows favor to the humble. This man was very humble. Very humble. But I think we don't have to be like this. We don't have to be like this man was, brothers. And sisters. Sisters, if you see these signs, it's time for you to run too. This is applicable both ways. But look at what this says right here. God bless Brother Eric. 2 Timothy 3:2-5. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good. They'll be treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. And Proverbs 5, do you see a person wise in their own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for them. So the first three things I have here on my research sheets, and we're going to see this exemplified through this whole video, is the narcissist will demonstrate signs of grandiosity, a lack of empathy, and arrogance. Okay, let's go back to the video and see if we see grandiosity, lack of empathy, and arrogance. And if you, no, this is just a run. This is just a run. Let's see. Let's check it out.
So you're courting her, right? You're supposed to take care of her. You're supposed to cover her. You're supposed to protect her, cherish her, treat her well, right?
Yeah. What?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
We need Daniel Adams for something like this. And whatever's in her life,
Out of her life.
needs to be cast out of her life. And it's grandiosity, arrogance, lack of empathy, pride.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do.
I agree.
At the
went
Cheesecake
into this
Factory?
date as I expect with the
Anyway, I mean, and where in the world do you get the idea that courtship is happening on a first date? All of Proverbs 7, Susie Q says. I'll pull that up. She probably wants to go to a Michelin. Marriage benefits with no commitment. This is not realistic. And he ain't even talking about this. Ain't courtship. You don't even know each other yet. She's on a whole other level of expectations. She's on a whole other level. Yes, me and my wife are watching this today. And there's another one out there of a woman who went to some clam shop and ate like 48 clams or something on some dude. These people out here, I mean, it's just something else. I would not want to be one of these young people right now. Yep. These are signs to run. And I'm saying you can meet somebody who even claims to be a Christian and they could still act like this.
Expectations for myself to keep you safe, you know, to respect you, to pay for your food, of course, pick you up, of course, and just treat you like a gentleman, which I believe I have done.
I mean, you've been pretty nice, but I mean,
and then
Cheesecake Factory.
I, on the other hand, have certain expectations for a girl I go out with on the first date. I expect her to be respectful too. I expect her to be cooperative, and at least, you know.
What did I do that wasn't cooperative?
Well, I mean, like, even like,
you know, like if you're even talking to someone and they don't look you in the eye and you see a sign that they're purely uninvested in the conversation, they're uninvested in listening, shut it down. Shut it down. You should be looking at that man while he's speaking to you.
When we were walking to the car, you wouldn't put your hand around my arm or anything like that, or hold my hand or anything like that.
I mean, it's too early for that.
Okay.
I don't know you.
I can respect that. I can respect that. Okay. When I got to your apartment to pick you up, you didn't want to invite me in. I can respect that too. We're not
again.
I don't know there
yet.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
And then, but
I mean, I feel like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do as a woman.
But
I got myself all made
up.
up.
Nothing wrong with the Cheesecake Factory, right?
Yes, there's a lot wrong with the Cheesecake Factory.
Okay, well, look at my planner where we were gonna go originally.
See, now that's where we should have went. All right there. Call him.
No.
What do you mean no?
See, I specifically told you both yesterday and this morning that I'd come to pick you up at 4 p.m. Right? And I got to your place at 4 p.m. You didn't even come downstairs for another hour, and so I was waiting downstairs.
I don't think this one is fake. I think the clam one is. I thought the clam one was fake, where the guy supposedly stiffed her with a big bill. But this one, I can't see this guy. This guy's not acting. She's acting. She's showing her true self. I mean, because she's playing a role. She ain't a real person. But I don't think this guy's acting.
For an hour.
Yeah.
Right?
But I wasn't expecting for work to take me so long.
Okay. So he goes to the house. She wouldn't hold his hand or like put her arm on his arm like he's escorting her. But she doesn't come downstairs for an hour. She makes him wait at her house for an hour. And she got hung up at work, but didn't have the common decency to call the man.
I got home a little late, and like I said, I don't know you well enough to invite you up into my apartment. And that is not possible.
And that's why I'm thinking, okay, if we're not there in the relationship to, you know, meet at your apartment, then maybe we're not ready in a relationship for such a nice fancy restaurant as Aria, especially if I'm paying.
So he had reservations at a beautiful restaurant that she would have had no problem with, and the itinerary was he was going to pick her up at 4. They were going to show up early, and he was going to take her out to something way over. To me, You ain't getting the most expensive restaurant on first date, ever. That's just never been in my profile. No, no. That's never been in the profile. I agree. Well, I've never eaten there. Yeah, and he's talking about at a place in their relationship. They don't even have a relationship. They don't have a relationship. Hippolyta, welcome to the stream. I haven't seen you in a minute, sis. Been missing you. I haven't even seen any of your videos pop up. So, yeah, I haven't had Cheesecake Factory yet. Relationship. It's the first date, right? We haven't reached a place in our relationship. Oh, let me under here. Who doesn't like cheesecakes? I like cheesecake. Like I said. Wait a minute. You never been to the cheesecake? Nope, I haven't. I haven't been.
For the whole thing, which I'm still willing to do.
I
would have been,
okay.
but if we're late, I told you
we weren't
twice.
late. It wasn't that late.
We literally left your place at the time the reservation was supposed to be.
Oh,
Duh.
And I specifically said 4 because maybe we could get there early and even have some time to get to know each other on the way there and while we're in the parking lot. Waiting for a reservation.
We can still get to know each other. Isn't there another restaurant you can call that, the equivalent to that?
I literally
you
just
don't understand. Look at.
So he's claiming that he had reservations for a nice place. They were late, so he's just going to take her to Cheesecake Factory. I would have downgraded her to McDonald's because, actually, this should have never happened. To me, if you waited an hour, at 15 minutes, you should have said, hey, look, let's just reschedule this. Or let's just forget this. But this is out of control.
At me. I cannot go in the Cheesecake Factory.
There's nothing wrong with
I
that.
will die. That's embarrassing.
Listen, as I said, I have very specific certain expectations for that.
No.
I can tell it's not gonna be there. And maybe we're not right for each other. So respectfully, I'm gonna just drop you off at home.
Oh no, he didn't.
Yeah.
I love that. He should have just shut it down, and they shouldn't have never got to this. They should have never got to the Cheesecake Factory. But look at the look on her face. I love it. And this is what you got to do. And if you're talking about just taking somebody for the first time to somewhere, and there's such a contempt, because to me, I'm looking at contempt. I'm looking at disrespect. I'm looking at uncooperativeness.
Maybe we're not right for each other.
Maybe.
So respectfully, I'm gonna just drop you off at home.
Oh no, he didn't.
Yeah, I'm up.
So you just want to call it a night?
Yeah.
Isn't there some kind of compromise or something? Ladies, can you
Compromise? Oh, she's gonna ask the ladies too.
Yeah.
Isn't there some kind of compromise or something? Ladies, can you believe this?
I'm sorry, y'all.
He just pulled
but
out of the parking space.
If I don't feel respected, I am not gonna go through with the rest of the day.
Well, you are serious. You're really leaving.
Yeah, you didn't want this place anyway, right?
Right.
I understand that I was.
Right. What you said right there, Monique. First date is like going to a park or a public hiking trail with a small lunch or a coffee shop. She doesn't have respect for herself. Yeah, she doesn't. If you're gonna show your stuff off like that, you ain't gonna respect him because you don't respect you. She's big mad, and Yeah, she wants him to spend money. So I never heard this before. Um, what was the term I heard? A foodie call. This was a foodie call. Um, gang, bring the ladies to the date. Yeah, she was on TikTok. I think her. He's very fair to stop the date if she doesn't want to go inside. Yeah, he would have been very fair to stop the date in the wait, because look, there's just some symptoms that somebody yeah, she just was going to get a nice steak dinner, she proposed, and get him to, fall all over her, and then give him a handshake at the end of the night, peck on the cheek if it was a miracle. And I'm not saying he should have gotten more, but, this is secular dating. What Monique put, a park, a coffee shop, church, foodie call. Yeah, I had never ever heard of that before. But this is what some people will do. This is what secular dating looks like.
Late. I understand that. I understand that I could have.
But see, this is why you cannot compromise your convictions. You have to know what you're doing going in. You have to know what you're willing to tolerate, because what you tolerate and will escalate. What you tolerate will escalate. But you see, as soon as he won't tolerate it, as soon as he calls it off and calls it quits, her tune begins to change. But the reason why we have this is because in my opinion, is because we have some weak, I don't like using the word simp, but simping men who would do backflips, cartwheels, jump through hoops, and do somersaults to please the wrong one. Do we have women that do that too? Yes, we do. Women do the same thing. What you tolerate will escalate. This is not a place you want to start. This is a place called stop.
Been a bit more cooperative. You made some good points. That's why I'm willing to compromise. Are you sure you want to go home?
Go home. This is a go home moment. This is a go home, boo. You ain't the one, boo.
I don't have a lot of rules. I don't have a lot of expectations for a first date, but I've already set them, and you've broken every one.
Oh
So,
my God.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna tell you one thing. Again, I've recommended this book before. Susie Q's in the chat. Love and Respect is an excellent book. If you disrespect a man, it's over. If you even tolerate being disrespected, you're compromising your values, man, because you know what I'm talking about. There's a code among men. Among men, there's a code. So if among men who are more apt to punch, I'm just going to tell it like it is, punch each other in the face or physically confront one another, there's a code. Typically, even a man's enemies won't disrespect him. Even a man's enemies won't disrespect him. There's a list that is circulating online about the places not to take women. Red Lobster is on the list, and pretty much all restaurants are available for the common man. Church made the list too. You got do more of these. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You work your way. You don't come. Imagine. Okay, so like I said, what you tolerate will escalate. But imagine you start up here. That's what I was telling our first date was a park. Okay, our first date was a park. Our next date was bowling. Okay, you don't want to. You're never going to be comfortable with someone who does not know what grace is. This is an unrealistic expectations and no awareness of what grace is. This man extended huge amounts of grace. When they arrived at Cheesecake Factory, she should have still been apologizing. But she felt entitled to wasting this man's time. She felt entitled to disrespect this man. A sense of entitlement is a bad thing. And let me tell you something else. This is something I've noticed. Okay, let's say you got you're on a date, okay? And maybe you got some vibes or something, and you need to watch. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Watch how this individual who you're vetting treats people who can do nothing for them, or treats people who they view as less than. If I was sitting in a restaurant with anyone and I see them being cruel or grandiose or arrogant towards the wait staff, I'm going to be like,
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
so that's part of the vetting process. Could you imagine if she's talking to this man like this, how she would have talked to your wait staff? How she would have felt superior to them? That would not be a kind person. That would not be a compassionate person or an empathetic person. That's an entitled person. Okay. And if somebody gets your order wrong, okay, you ordered well done and you get medium or medium rare, or you get rare or something, send it back and have your steak cooked right. But when I've been out with people, and I'm not even talking about, this ain't a date, this is just like church folks after church is over. And one of the people in the group will send their steak back. And then they'll bring the steak back. And then they'll send this back because now this isn't hot. And then as soon as they get that, and then they'll pick up every little, it's just what you might call, what the Word of God says, straining out a gnat and swallowing a camel. I was with a guy in the past who would speak terribly to the taxi driver. That's exactly what I'm talking about. When I was still lukewarm, or what you're looking at is eventually, and this is a sign of narcissism. Narcissists look at things in scales, greater than, less than, and eventually and inevitably, when you're dealing with a narcissist, you will be in the less than position, even if you're getting love bombed. Okay, imagine she was just love bombing him. Imagine she wasn't acting like this, but she was love bombing him and acting right. If I see her treating the wait staff cruelly, superior, haughty, entitlement, uncharitable, I'm going to be like, how's she going to treat me when she gets to know you, when she gets to see my flaws? Because a person who understands grace will continue to love. Like this guy he's got real good signs of a humble spirit. But I think he's just, even then there's a overt narcissist out there. Mm-hmm. Let's go on with this. This is almost over. You get the point here.
Hi. We're dropping you off home.
We taking you home.
All right, whatever. Well, I guess I understand. You gotta do what you gotta do. Well, I'm sorry. I understand where you're coming from.
She did say she was sorry once the consequences came. Oop. Okay, let's move on to this. So here's her again. This is about a 5-minute video. I think I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. This is before they do an interview somewhere. Yeah, I didn't put this up, but we're doing this as a reaction and education, because you see these qualities in a man or a woman. It's mark and avoid. It's mark, avoid, and run. Run for the hills. The funny thing about dating women today is so many are about money. right? Well, that's what you got to vet. You know, again, as Christians, we're looking to be equally yoked. And you got to watch out for, just because somebody's sitting in church like a spoiled teenager, that's a clue that you're dealing with a narcissist, because no matter what age they are, chronologically, they could be 30, 40, 50 years old. What are they going to act like? They're going to act like a toddler. She respect him because he's a threat. She respect him because he's a threat. Well, she's showing respect because he stood up for himself. She is the most respectful when he will not tolerate disrespect. The culture promotes, if they are listening to these female rappers, they are selling them delusions. Exactly. She has the worldly sorrow. She's sorrow. Yeah. Godly sorrow worketh repentance, but worldly sorrow worketh death. Sorry. My kids used to do that all the time. Most kids never know sorrow. Okay? My kids before they would hear me finish explaining what they had done, they were saying, sorry, 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 Dad, sorry. But they were saying it because they didn't want to hear it. I haven't even explained to you what happened. What are you sorry about? They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear any correction. Oh, brother Eric, romance story. I found my wife when I was broke as a joke, making $11 an hour. Hey, that's perfect. That's perfect. It was about relationship. It was about love. I guess I say that wrong. Thanks for correcting me. I wasn't. Yeah, but woman who rejected the Cheesecake Factory speaks out. This is after that. She got a huge amount of backlash. If you haven't followed this, you haven't been into this, she got a huge amount of backlash. And people were just, I mean, some of her own followers were up in there saying, "What is your problem?" That's why I thought that it was real, because it didn't go over how she thought it was going to go over. But this is her. She's going to tell about an interview. And if y'all are still into it, there was an interview with another person. Like, I don't know how long of a time gap was between that first date, and we'll watch that too. But this is her on the day of the interview.
Hey guys, this is Alicia. It's been a while, but there have been quite a bit of things on my mind. I believe that many of you have seen the, now viral video about me choosing to reject the Cheesecake Factory because I wanted more from my date. I want to, let me say this. It's interesting to me that just how a moment in time, right,
So
can shape how
a moment in time. She's been talking for 1 minute and hasn't said a single word of any value whatsoever.
so many view you.
A moment in time. What? Let me see what she said.
Can shape how so many view you.
A moment in time can shape how so many view you. A moment in time that ridiculous, that over the top, with that much arrogance, that much pride, that much disrespect, that much contempt for another human being that you posted online, yeah, it can change how people view you. And they're viewing you properly, and you get kickback from it.
And so I want to talk about, I'm trying to remember, Bear with me, guys. I wrote down some notes so I can remember everything I want to say.
When you have notes, they look like this. She got no notes, y'all. What do you mean you wrote down notes so you can say everything you wanted to say, but you ain't got no notes?
I watched the comments, the shares that you guys, the opinions that you guys had. And I have reflected on all of them, processed all.
You're right. That wasn't a moment in time. That's you, boo. That's you. That's how many people react, and many people think. Many women believe that way, you know. And I would just tell anybody that each person should show an equal amount of interest. When you sense that you have a high level of interest and the other person has a sense of indifference, shut it down. Shut it down. Don't play with it. Don't tolerate it. Don't tolerate it so that it escalates. Got to be balanced. His interest level was up here. His realness was up here. Her realness was way, way down.
All of them that I was able to read.
Is she talking slow?
Many of you have been vocal about how entitled I was, how I misused this man. And I want you to understand that my mission has always been for women, to empower women.
So, ladies in the stream, do you believe that to empower women that you have to treat a man like that? I believe greater things of you than that. If you're on my channel, if you tune in here, I don't ascribe these qualities to the women that we have here. Her excuse was the reason why she treated that man like that. I just want to hear it again. The reason why she treated that man like that, or wanted to elevate herself up here.
This man. And I want you to understand that my mission has always been for women, to empower women, for women to feel respected, cared for.
I want to tell you something. This is my opinion. If I truly want to empower someone and care for them, and I truly feel empowered, I don't feel I have to disempower someone else to make myself feel empowered. Can I get an amen? Truly empowered people don't have to diminish someone else. People who truly respect themselves don't have to disrespect others. See what I'm saying? So I'm seeing in this video evidence that you don't have self-respect, evidence that you don't feel empowered, because people who don't feel empowered feel like they need to diminish others to raise themselves up and elevate themselves. So I don't see what you're saying here, sis.
Not be misused, or abused, right?
Wow.
I've seen and heard many a horror story, men and women, not just women, men and women. And
Amen,
I wanted
Rachel.
to make sure that this was a topic that we brought attention to. Many of you.
I love that. I love what Monique just wrote in the comments section there. I have low self-esteem, but I don't try to heal through making others feel bad. I work on it through therapy and taking it to God, talking to God about it much as possible and as much as I'm aware of it. This is a perfect example of how, have you ever heard people say, hurt people hurt people? That's not true. There's a lot of hurt people who don't get better by hurting other people. This is purely toxic, narcissistic behavior. This is purely narcissistic gaslighting, projection, and word salad. It happened. Oh, Eric, it happened in Atlanta. And yeah, we praise and thank God for you, Monique, and thanks for making that comment. There's a lot of hurt people that uh, don't solve or resolve their hurt by hurting others. There's a lot of people that don't feel really well about themselves inside, and those people with kind, caring, empathetic hearts, because this man seems like he's got a great deal of empathy and understanding. This is, and look, what do children of God have? They have empathy. They're caring. They're understanding. They're understanding to a fault. Look, I've got a little slow. I've got some slogans, Robisms, just like Jarena has her Jarena-isms. One of my Robisms is the favorite person of an irresponsible person is an overly responsible person. Whoa, come on, that's deep. If you're dealing with an irresponsible or childish person, their favorite person is someone who's been groomed to be overly responsible. If you're dealing with a super sensitive person who takes everything critically, everything's a wound, everything's disrespect, everything's an insult, their favorite person is an overly responsible person because you didn't say anything wrong, but they will become so upset and so irate and gaslight you that you did something wrong that you actually will end up apologizing to your abuser, asking for forgiveness to your abuser. Man, I can just picture this person in an actual relationship. Not a pretty sight.
Within interpretations that I saw, I want you to understand that this was never about exposing or embarrassing anyone. The purpose was to spark discussion, to foster learning and growth, right?
What? Wait, I got to go back because I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at the comments. The purpose of this was to do what?
To spark discussion, to foster learning and growth, right?
Wrong.
But I've seen some interesting interpretations. And it has caused me some more questions.
Out of her life.
Out of her life. She needs deliverance. Get Pagani, get Saldivar over here.
There have been some hurtful comments. People wanting to come for my job. It's interesting to me how angry someone can get about something.
Yeah, what in the what? See, this is a dangerous society we live in. People trying to get her canceled from work because she's a despicable date. That's taking it too far. It's taking it too far.
Things that don't directly affect them.
And here's the thing. She says it doesn't directly affect them, but what it would reveal to me if someone was triggered by her behavior is that they are not healed from their past behavior. They've been treated just like she treated him, and they haven't been healed. Man, but with knowledge comes power. And this is how you spot a narcissist. One of the things in the Bible, I know what Jesus said, I'm sending you out as sheep among wolves. Therefore be as shrewd as serpents, but as innocent as doves. And we do so little work to try to help people recognize a wolf early. We do so little training. See, because this is red flags. This is all about red flags. We don't train people how to recognize a truly predatory person. This is a predatory individual by that first video.
To the point where you want to be harmful, right? all while screaming respect.
You want to be harmful while screaming respect. Sis, you was the one wanting respect. You was the one wanting treated like a queen, wanting elevated and escalated well beyond the status that you had ever worked for or earned. Okay? Start small. Start small in a relationship. Start in a park, public park with people present, a coffee shop, a walk, church, prayer, friendship, okay? And if someone tries to rush you, if someone tries to take it to some level that you're not at yet, see, this is what the enemy wants us to do. Wants us to skip steps. The enemy wants us to skip steps and assume roles and positions that you haven't taken the steps to become. What did Paul say? When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I understood like a child. I thought like a child. But when I became a man, or when I became mature, I put the ways of childhood behind me. That's in the love chapter. Because what we saw exhibited in her was the mentality, emotional and mentally, as a child. And the other man, on the other hand, we've seen a person who exhibited a lot of maturity.
But because I am one who loves to discuss things, right? Who's always open to learn and grow, I've decided to sit down for an exclusive interview with Kevin Wesley.
Kevin Wesley.
So, guys, you're going to get your opportunity to...
I can't stand this pace anymore. Y'all, we're gonna stop right there on that one, and we're gonna move to this this interview. There we got our friend Jay. Let me go to the up here, the screen share. Da-da-da-da. So this is the interview she was, because this pace of her, she got another minute and a half. It takes too long. She's talking too slow. So we're joining the interview at the 8-minute mark, and there was essentially just a bunch of small talk. Then they played that video. I did not see this update yet. Right. So this is what's his name? Kevin Wesley, the truth report. Okay, we're gonna check this out. Fair use. We're going to learn something from this report here, from this interview. And we've skipped past playing her video because they played her video at first. And then we hear and see this. And we see this man is pretty small in stature. We see something right here, right now.
So, now here we are, a few weeks later. I'm sure you've had some time to think about what you guys discussed in the car. I'm sure you've had some time to think about it. Yeah. Before I ask you any questions, have you guys had a second date?
No.
No second dates.
Not yet.
Okay.
She said not yet. Oh my gosh, there might be a sequel to this. Not yet.
So I'll start with you, Jay. What has dating been like for you since that video went viral?
Since I was on the video, kind of unexpected.
Listen close.
I might not have put my best foot forward, and so.
So look, he said in that date he might not have put his best foot forward. That shocked me. This is shocking, dude. Jay, stop apologizing. Don't feel sorrow. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel shame, because you had self-respect, because you had dignity. I feel for this dude. I really do. Because I think there's things in the culture that make a man think that being loving, being caring, and being kind means you have to be some type of man butler, whipping boy. You know, I don't even want to use the term, but I'm just going to put it right there, that you have to take abuse, that you have to tolerate disrespect. That's not what it means to take up your cross. Take up your cross doesn't mean that you have to be disrespected. What did Jesus say in Matthew 7? He said, do not give dogs what is holy, nor throw your pearls before swine, lest they turn on you and trample you underfoot. I want to say that even as followers of Christ, we have a right not to demand, but to live in dignity, to live in self-respect, and to not tolerate this type of foolishness.
So I feel like, well, I've not really met anyone since who I've really gotten to get to know like that, because a lot of women, they might have seen the video or might have heard from it, or maybe a friend of them has seen the video and shares it with them. And so they kind of had this image of me based on the video.
Absolutely.
And it hasn't really helped.
Okay.
Let me put it to you this way. If you not unlovingly, not brutally, but you set a boundary and you say, hey, look, as far as you have a right to in the love of Christ, determine what is acceptable and unacceptable to you. Okay. Based on your health, based on your mental, emotional, physical health, based on your past experiences, you have a right to tell someone, hey, I've been through this, and so therefore I don't like to have this. Every person's boundaries are going to be different. But when you exercise your boundaries, when you exercise your dignity, your self-respect, okay, your personal care for yourself, and then anyone who has a problem with that, you weren't the problem if they vet themselves out, okay? You actually have done something right, because you have lived in accordance with your authentic self, okay? You've lived in accordance with your authentic self and the boundaries that you have set as the best you know as a healthy person. He should be thankful. God, that's when you set boundaries, you vet out the wrong ones. You got to know what your boundaries are in advance. In advance, not when you get in a circumstance. It ain't going to matter what you're trying to figure out when you're in a circumstance. Know what healthy boundaries are before you get in a circumstance.
Exactly. It's like they might think everything about me is reflected in that video, and I don't think it is. And but yeah, it's
no. I think it is. You're very weak, dude. He's a very weak man. He's a very I don't know if he's very weak. I mean, I would have been done way, but we wouldn't even have started, but I would have been done way before he was done. That was a reflection of who he is. And he needs to get even more firm in what he will and will not tolerate, and how far he allows another person to push him or depress him, use him, twist him, manipulate him, walk all over him.
a video, and I don't think it is. And,
you need to get some.
But yeah, it's been difficult.
Sure.
Well, and it's even before this, dating has already been difficult for me.
I imagine your views kind of clash with what you're looking for and what they're looking for.
Yeah, I think so, because, I think in general, my values kind of reflect wanting to build something that lasts.
Yes, sir.
And I want to make sure that anyone that I meet is willing to build a really strong foundation based on our mutual values. Mm-hmm. And I think it in general, a lot of the people that I meet, either they don't have time to set towards building something like that.
Yeah, Sissy, I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not, totally put. He didn't have very strong convictions about himself. He's still what do you call it? Uncertain that he even has the right to exercise boundaries. Are you following me? He felt guilty and almost ashamed that he has boundaries, that he has expectations. And I don't think male or female, if you have boundaries and expectations, whatever they are, and that person's unwilling to meet them or doesn't meet them or breaks them in every degree, you shouldn't have to say, "Oh yeah, you shouldn't. You don't have to be like that. Be strong, be firm, be steadfast, be firm in your convictions." Because narcissists love to manipulate people. He needs to try Nashville versus Atlanta. Narcissists love to manipulate people. If you have weak convictions, they will eventually wear those convictions down and get you compromising. If you don't have strong convictions, they will wear your convictions down. That's what narcissists do. That's what Satan does. This says in the Bible that Satan wants to wear out the saints. This wasn't a boundary, but he had a lot of time to think. Yeah. He thought himself in a more unsure. See, he came back. He should have felt sureness when he said it in the car. And he should have felt more sureness when he got on this show. So sometimes people who've done the right thing, time makes them feel guilty. Can anybody relate to that? Did you make the right decision, but over time you become more uncertain in that decision? Yeah, I need to put on my glasses, Susie Q.
Or they just don't want to because, they're younger, they want to experience, casual dating or whatever it is. And it's just not something that I'm looking for right now.
Understood. So obviously, guys, Jay's saying that they have a negative, viewing him in a negative light when it comes to dating. When I saw Jay, I saw someone who was making some excellent points, who knew what he wanted, and he's actually now like a Giga Chad in the manosphere world, in the red pill community. The brother's being mentioned everywhere for the way he handled that conversation. Now I'm going to ask Alicia as well, because
again, he was so gracious. He was more gracious than I think you have to be. He was less firm than I think you should be. All right. He was kind, he was gentle, he was patient. Those are all great things. But you don't have to be so soft when you're being kind and gracious and humble, all right? You can still have strength of your convictions, you can still have certainty, you can still have firmness, you can still speak with authority in your voice. I can say no, and I don't have to say no. I'm telling you, that's just how I've even raised my kids. When I don't want to produce a woman who won't also say no. My daughters, I don't want my daughters to just be like, I don't want them to submit to someone who is this toxic in a man. Submissiveness does not mean permissiveness to abuse.
During this conversation, Alicia.
Thank
I'll
you.
get that right. Okay, so Alicia, you didn't seem to really disagree with what he was saying. Now, you had definitely a different opinion before he gave you his mind, right? But you seemed very receptive to it. Can you explain to me kind of what you were thinking and how you saw him in that video? Because he's saying they took him in a negative light. What do you think?
Well, yes, I think once we had the conversation, I could see my role in the conflict.
Okay, okay.
Let's back up a little bit. To be fair, I mean, I was always raised that the man is supposed to cater to you. I mean, you're courting me, so court me. That means wherever I want to go, you take me.
Absolutely.
Whatever I want, you buy me. That's courting.
That's not courting. Does anybody think that's courting? Wherever I want to go, you take me. Whatever I want, you give me. This is child behavior. There's been things, and I mean, anybody who's, you ain't got to be, some kind of textbook perfect marriage. Yeah, she's still not remorseful. Sorry, not sorrow, not godly sorrow that worketh repentance. Sorry, I did a boo-boo. But That is not courting. Yeah. Because eventually both partners are going to eventually tell the other partner no. I mean, not waiting. That's child's that never been told no behavior. Yep. That's called being spoiled. That's called entitlement. That's called happy wife, happy life. That is one of the phrases that I've heard even pastors use. That it should be hate. That should be a hated phrase. If dating each other fails, he can always hire her as a bodyguard. Yeah, she's like almost 6'1". Courting is getting to know each other. That's called having I call it a man butler, Susie Q. That's what modern feminism and modern, what I call weak Christianity and weak pastors, simping pastors. I don't think that the number of women is so proportionally high due to the fact that men don't want and don't love the Lord, but it's because of the fact that the message is usually curtailed to man shaming, usually curtailed to man shaming, man blaming, the man's fault. Being responsible and accountable doesn't mean everything's your fault, brother. Amen. Everything's not the man's fault, and he could be 100% responsible and 100% accountable, or even 150. I mean, going the extra mile. And if you're dealing with an individual like this, and there's a word in the Bible that I'm not even going to say it, but it doesn't mean it's your fault. Men who are in depression because they tried everything, they jumped through every hoop, jumped through and did every backflip, every cartwheel, worked 12. I mean, to try to please an unpleasable person, and they're still ashamed and they still feel like a failure. And I mean, and what does it do? It gets all these pastors who have all these women. A lot of times, many of these places, these women idolize those men, compare their husbands to this smooth talking, flattering pastor who's more busy shaming the women's husband than rightly dividing the word of truth. She wasn't attracted to him on sight because she was so much taller than he is, but after talking with him, she said he was thoughtful and engaging, and that she liked his heart, and he was courageous to come up and talk to her. Every quality that matters, every quality in that man's life that mattered, she was attracted to that, but hung up on the height. But even the height issue, if you've accepted that date and you've said yes, that height issue is not a problem. You said yes, boo.
I'm looking for a provider. So, but after the conversation, I could see how there was a lot of
Okay.
in that exchange.
Absolutely.
I was definitely very self-centered, and I can appreciate if I do want someone to provide for me, I at least gotta be a little bit nice.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay, great. So now I ask you this, based on your idea of dating before your conversation with Jay, how did you grow up? Who also thinks that way? I'm sure you have friends who think that way. I've heard it a lot.
I mean, everybody. I mean, that's what he's supposed to be the provider.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm a beautiful woman, so I'm expecting to be treated like royalty. I mean, come on. So that's what I was doing.
How do we?
So she's expecting to be treated like royalty. What are we?
Out of her life.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Who are you? Are you royalty? Should we treat each other like royalty? See, each other. That's the problem. The each other part. If you treat your husband like a king, guess what? He's already geared. He's already geared and equipped, and it's in his compass to treat you like a queen. My wife said to me, well, your mom sure taught you how to treat a woman. I was like, are you kidding me? My mom didn't teach me nothing about treating a woman. My dad taught me. Because I think women tolerate stuff from kids a lot. And they're more empathetic, they're more nurturing, they're more kind, okay? My mom would have tolerated things in how I was acting that my dad wouldn't tolerate, see? This is why you got to have the whole package is so important. I saw my dad patiently waiting for my mom. I saw my dad picking things up and carrying things. I saw my dad doing the work. I saw my dad serving. I saw my dad providing. I saw my dad bearing up under stress and difficulty in marriage, you know. It was my dad that taught me how to treat a woman. Many women are far too tolerant in things with their kids. Yeah, I'm just telling the truth. I was like, no.
Treat him, and that's where the disconnect was.
Right.
In the video, now of course I'm sure you think of it differently now, but in the video you basically told him that you're not going there. You know your value. It would be embarrassing for you to go inside a Cheesecake Factory. A lot of people like Cheesecake Factory. Now, so when I see that video, I'm thinking, okay, she must have some friends who probably would disagree with her going inside a Cheesecake Factory. Your peer group. So peer pressure probably keeps you from.
Never lived that. Oh my God. I would have never lived that down.
Wow. I mean, they the Cheesecake Factory. They wouldn't let you live that down.
No, I have an image to protect.
Wow.
Does not do that.
She has not learned she has not learned a thing. She hasn't learned a thing.
That was, that was my circle though. That's how,
Sure.
That's how we roll.
Sure.
I mean, to be quite blunt, that's how we roll. Hypergamy is a big thing in my circle. Is what it's what we've been taught. Why? As a black woman, I'm gonna go there. As a black woman, we're really tired of having to settle. We want to be treated well. We want that soft life. So that's what I thought I was going after. However, what I understand is a part of having a soft life is being cooperative.
Being soft.
Not being combative.
You're
right?
Actually being soft.
Right.
Being receptive, being sweet.
Absolutely.
Being pleasant, right? Because we do understand the value of resources, but it can't be just something for a lifestyle. Resources, a man's resources is not just for a woman's experiences and traveling and the lifestyle they'll live when married, is for providing for the family and the children. And that's why she should seek a man and respect his resources or prioritize his resources, not just for what it can do for her, right? And so when you were in the beginning of it, you was just saying, I'm not doing it. It seemed really selfish, right? And I appreciated that when I saw the video myself. That's one of the things I covered is, wow, I've never seen a woman that receptive to being accountable, right? And you were, but Jay, however, didn't want to go out on a date. He wanted to discontinue that date, and he wanted to take it on to the house. Jay, is that your first time stopping a date midway through and going back home, or?
Yeah, something like that's. I'm sorry, at least that's the first time I've really put my foot down to that kind of extent. But it's not like an isolated incident,
And just because I didn't want to play into that, Eric, but she did say we're tired of settling. Who wants to settle? Who isn't tired of? Men aren't tired of settling. Okay, men of any culture or ethnicity, okay, aren't tired of settling also. Women of any culture or ethnicity are not tired of settling. I've never known that as a ethnically exclusive malady of the human condition. Everybody gets less than, men get less than. Men get dumped on. Men are the most disrespected commodity in society right now. Not the most crucial, but crucial component of the family is the man. Okay. There might be a lot of things that you can do without. You can do without rear door handles on your car. You can do without heated seats. You can do without leather seats. You can do without plush suspension systems and all kinds of extras that you get, accessories. But you can't do without an engine. or a transmission or a drive axle or tires. So yes, this is an essential ingredient in family structure is the man, and they're marginalized. I think some people need to do assessment tests before they go on a date to see if they are ready to court others. Well, that's if this was head of the household, that's why many households are robbed or riddled with dysfunction. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ain't nobody wants to settle. Everybody wants God's design for their life. God's design for our life. That's the epitome of life.
I've gone on dates with several people now, even before her, where they had very specific things they were looking for in a boyfriend or whatever, and even within my own circles, right? And that's just not something that I'm looking for, because
Susie Q brought the statistics, and I don't know where I heard this statistic, but she said single father homes have almost as good of statistics as two-parent homes, while single mother homes do the absolute worst on average. I've heard that statistic somewhere before. And again, I'm just believing it has to do with the discipline. It has to do with the discipline, has to do with the education, has to do with a father usually wants to teach his child. All right, this is just something I've noticed, not only in my own circumstance, but in the circumstance of others. I've noticed, ladies, I'm not bashing ladies. I love my sisters. This is not, what do you call it? What do we call toxic masculinity? But I've noticed that women tend to tell, but they have oftentimes, I've seen that they don't explain. Nothing helps obedience like more than an explanation. And dads tend to tell, enforce the discipline, but then give an explanation for why. It killed me to obey when my father would say, because I said so. But what I've noticed as I got older, if I would tell my kids stuff, yeah, you got this. But if once they got to the age where I could tell and explain the reason, it helped obedience a lot. It helped compliance a lot. And that's what the Bible says. Fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath, but bring them up in the fear and admonition of the Lord. And that's just not a tell, it's a show. It's a model. It's don't just tell me what to do. Show me how to do what you tell me to do. Model to me what you want me to do. Be self-controlled. Be strong. Be steadfast. Be firm. Be mentally controlled. Be emotionally controlled. Don't be volatile. Okay? Guess who you learn volatility from? Volatile people. And I was talking before, I'll do another, but talking about emotional reasoning versus logical reasoning versus fact-based reasoning. Okay? I think that's more in the masculine. That's more how my dad was. My dad didn't make decisions because he felt like something. He made decisions because that's what a man does and from his convictions. He worked lots. He did a lot of work. He didn't go to work because he felt like going to work. He went to work because it's a responsibility to go to work, because it's a responsibility to provide. He didn't go to work because we were celebrating him and having a party every day when he came home. He did it because it was his responsibility. No one had to force him or twist his arm or put him in a headlock or put him in a rear naked choke and choke him out. He knew that he was accountable to provide. And he didn't get celebrated nearly enough. Not nearly enough. He didn't get honored not nearly enough. When I got saved, he did. And when I became a man, I honored and respected him. But as a child, I didn't do it nearly enough. Let's go on with this.
I was raised, like we were talking about how she was raised. Whereas with me, like my family, like we've passed down the name for ages, and we're a very close-knit, strong family.
You passed down your first name, Jay? Like
Yes.
your father's and father.
Yeah,
How many
yeah.
generations probably?
I mean, I couldn't really count it myself
Wow.
because I mean the thing is, like, I'm from India,
Okay.
you know, and the partition happened where like India was separated from Pakistan, and a lot of my family were on both sides of that, and we had to come back together.
Wow.
And we had to. It was very important for us to stay strong after the fact. At the time, maybe we didn't care as much about like, creating this legacy, but ever since, it's like that's been one of the strongest parts of our family is the importance in creating our legacy. And with that in mind, like I've grown up with the idea that I want a strong family here now that I'm living in America. The only kind of relationships I seek are ones where that is the only value. That is the biggest value. That is the most important thing for the other person as well as for me.
Wow. That's actually powerful. So your family going through all that they did, it caused you guys to really idealize relationships, right? And
Specifically relationships that last.
absolutely, absolutely. And so here you are in America dating, and mostly in our culture, where you said earlier you were a black woman. Of course, we have been through some things, right? In our culture here in the States and throughout the whole diaspora, I like using that word. But a lot of times our culture has been stripped, and we haven't yet began to idealize relationships. You know, so we're more so going along with the flow. So here he is in America, and he's meeting a woman who's in America, and she sees dating the way Americans see dating, and so I can see the clash in that.
Yeah.
You know, he's looking at you as if that's selfish. You're looking at him as if he's treating you beneath your worth, your actual value. So here's what I want to do, guys. I want to go back a bit. Can y'all tell me how y'all met? Don't you tell me how you guys met?
So I was in Midtown, and like I barely even have time to go out with friends and all that. But it was a really close friend's birthday, so I went to get some drinks for the first time in ages, and I saw this beautiful woman who it seemed like every other guy in the bar was either intimidated by or too shy to talk to, and I thought, what the hell? Why not? And she was, minding her own business, and I asked her, her name, Alicia, and I thought that's a beautiful name. And even despite how loud it was in the bar, we were still able to talk a little here and there. And I got her number, and she had to go. And so
Now you gotta go watch, like I said, on Sister Violet's channel. The ladies broke this down in a whole different light, and they said things that I don't feel like I have a license to say. So you should go watch Sister Violet's take on this whole situation. Sister Violet, Q, and Jarena. Let's let it rip. I'm not gonna comment.
talking after that for a little bit, and then like a week later, I asked her, "You want to go out? I mean, to this restaurant?"
Yeah.
And I told her it would be a surprise. And maybe that might be a problem on my part. It might have raised the expectations a little bit, but I guess the surprise ended up being Cheesecake Factory, where
Right.
the original surprise was
I want to get to that. You had something else planned for her, right?
Yeah.
Because of how the evening went, the Cheesecake Factory happened, right?
Yeah.
So
Can I just say before
Sure.
I love the Cheesecake Factory, and it's a place that I've gone to for like every birthday. So like it wasn't just like a random restaurant to me. It was also like a place that I've gone with my family throughout my entire life, and I love Cheesecake Factory.
so you didn't. So obviously the because you guys were late, she wasn't ready. You weren't able to take her to the restaurant that you wanted to take her to. You figured I can't go wrong with Cheesecake Factory, right?
Yeah.
It's my old birthday restaurant.
It's my lucky.
She'll love it.
And that's the lucky spot too at the Pearly.
Lucky spot. Okay, we'll come back to that one. I'm kidding with you.
Okay.
Alicia.
Yeah.
So Jay, you see Jay walking up to you in the bar. Say Midtown. He's walking up to you. He's going to talk with you. There are other guys around you. Did you notice those guys probably want to talk to you? Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
So what made you say, okay, I'm going to give this guy a chance? What was it about him?
Well, he was bold enough to come up and talk to me for one.
Confidence, okay.
So yes, I definitely am attracted to confident. He just seemed like he had a pure heart. He was, very thoughtful, engaging. I mean, the only he won me over. He did win me over, but I'm a tall woman, and so there wasn't necessarily like that immediate attraction. But as we began to talk, it was really his heart that made me say, I'll give this guy a try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that where you draw your line? Is that typically you don't date guys who are, you guys have to be at least your height or taller before you would date them?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that. That probably makes it difficult finding someone suitable for yourself. You are what, 6'1", 6?
I'm almost 6'1", yes.
Almost 6'1".
Oh, Bible. What's the name? Sister Violet's channel is Berean Babes. Susie Cube, you still there? If you can drop that in the chat, appreciate you. Oh, there she go. Single father, Single mother home statistics. Yeah. So you saw he had a good heart, then you go and diss him. Yep.
Wow. So that means, let's see, 14.5% of men are at least 6 feet, right? But that next 2 inches for you to find someone taller than you, that's 3.6% of men in the entire world that are tall enough that are they're at least 6'2". Is that discouraging?
I mean, I only need one.
You need one, but he needs to be that height. He needs to make the resources.
Oh,
Yeah.
He needs to be funny. He needs to be charismatic. He needs to be disciplined. And that doesn't discourage you? Like,
I'm an optimist. But no.
I like
yeah,
I like
but no, I mean,
An optimist.
logically speaking, I
yeah, this is classical unequally yoked. Like Monique said, this is unequally yoked. And you can be, these people, no symptoms here, nothing about their faith they ever mention. So they're unbelievers. But like I've said before, believers can be unequally yoked also. You can have a person who has maturity of a Clydesdale, and the other person has the maturity of a Shetland pony, or or maybe a cartoon character of a pony. They're not spiritual. They're not mature. They're baby Christian, and you're way beyond their level. So you got to be equally yoked with somebody in maturity level too.
understand what you're saying. I've heard this many times, but I haven't given up on, and I hadn't given up on that. But I'm actually open. I really enjoyed our conversation, so I would consider.
Well, sure, and I was going to commend you for that. I didn't see it as I know you're saying that they have to be that height, but it seems that you are willing to, make an.
Well, I don't know how tall he is, but she is almost 6'1". I think he's slouching quite a bit, so it's really hard to tell. He doesn't seem to have very good posture in general. So if you have terrible posture, it makes you look even shorter. Wow, I just can't guess. But she's almost 6'1", it says.
Exception, just like you did for Jay here when he walked up and he had the confidence of a 6'2" man. You were able to at least hear what he had to say, and that's a good thing. Because it may not be the cookie cutter thing that you plan out. So if we're gonna look for a happy relationship, a harmonic one that gives our children and our lineage what they need for years and generations to come, right? We may have to make an exception or two, right?
Yeah. Sometimes it's not what we want; it's what we need, and we have to be more open to what we need.
That's absolutely true. I was going to say, when it comes to how we date, I think a lot of it is just the information that we have, right? So what I noticed from yours and Alicia's conversation, Jay, is that you had a different view of altogether of what dating should look like leading up to a relationship, and she had a different view. And
like, what I should say is, I mean, at the very end of the day, like, I understand dating in America is different from where my family's from, and in a way, like, it's perfectly fine to have those views and to think of dating differently. I just think, for me, I have very specific criteria, and it's not a long list of criteria, but it's just certain values that I
Sure. Well, I think a lot like you. That's why the video stood out to me. I believe relationships should be harmonic. They should be for a reason. So I believe in dating with intent, right? But
Well, you guys have all mentioned it. Now they're mentioning it. It's about values. It's about values. You have to share the same values. And you can't, I've heard a lot of people talk about their values, but they don't possess the values they talk about. They value honesty, but they're dishonest. They value loyalty, but they're unloyal. They value respect, but they're disrespectful. So you have to make sure it's what I call word action agreement. Make sure that the actions align with the words. Don't just fall for what people say. You have to make sure, what do you say? Does what he or she says line up with what he or she does? That is what character is. That's what character is. Character is when what you say lines up with what you do. She values respect, but only respect for her. She values loyalty, but only loyalty to her. She values giving, but only giving to her. That's not character. Character is when what you value is what you are. Woo! Come on. No. And when what you value is what you are, that's when you have character.
Many people in our generation today, they see dating as something that's just fun. They don't see it as a way to establish a healthy relationship. And that's what I was going to say. There's almost little to no understanding as to what dating should look like when you're trying to establish an intent for a meaningful relationship. And I think that's the biggest problem. It's not so much that people are necessarily selfish or entitled. It's more so that they don't know what they're looking for, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Oftentimes we think we know, but we really don't.
Right, right. So when he asked you the question, you expect men to go all out on a date, huh? And you said absolutely. If he likes her, he should present that, right?
Yes.
He should lead and be masculine. He should be willing to pay for the meal, show up on time, open doors for her, the whole nine. But when he asked you, what does a woman expect you to do? You said, look good, be there. And that's where the, right?
Disconnect.
Absolutely. Because there should be things that a woman should do, right? So if you thought about that, could you tell me some of what you
This
think now?
gets
If you
good.
would ask you that question today?
Sure. If you think about, watching the video, it's like, how do you expect this person to keep giving, and you're not giving anything back? So now we're depleted.
Absolutely.
And so who's going to pour into him?
Wow.
So, I mean, if you truly do want that type of
Reciprocity. Okay, that's something about love. If I say hi and you don't say hi back, there's no reciprocity. If I give and you don't say thank you, I mean, there's a reciprocity when you love people, and you're not living by the unholy trinity, me, myself, and I. And a believer has no business being unequally yoked with an unbeliever. That's biblical. And Susie Q put it, it's that devotion to Scripture. It's really, really being, as Marcus, about that life. You really have the capacity to love someone and care for someone else.
protection, provider, there has to be some balance.
Absolutely.
So.
Wow, that's very powerful. I actually took the liberty to make a list of things that men and women should look for in each other on a date, right? I'm gonna read them to you. I want you guys to tell me what you think of it, okay? Let's start with what you're looking for in a man, okay? So what a woman looks for in a man is respect and courtesy. Would you say I'm wrong? Confidence, right? Communication skills,
Absolutely.
knowing what he wants, where he's going with it, right?
Yes.
Initiative, taking the initiative. Chivalry,
Yes.
okay? Resilience,
Yes.
right? So even when you're being a little bit, hard to get, he can push past that, right? The resilience. Generosity,
Yes.
okay? So here are the behaviors that look good to a man. When
She really got triggered by generosity. She likes that more than anything.
looking for a woman. I'm going to ask you the same questions. You tell me if you like the sound of that. Men are looking for kindness, right? You want her to be really kind, really sweet, right? Pleasant. So what about active listening?
Yeah.
And you said when she got in the car, she was putting the makeup on and she wasn't really responding to you or responsive to you.
Yeah.
You took from that she didn't like you much.
Yeah.
Right. Encouragement. And,
Yes,
and you said that, being able to pour back into him, right? Positivity, right? So not being negative, having a smile on your face, right? Respect for independence.
Yeah.
Okay. Adaptability. Okay. There was this time where you wanted her to hold your arm,
Yeah.
right, and walk you so you could walk her to the car, and she didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
You expressed to her that you didn't like that, and it made you feel like, of course, with her not being on your arm, how can you truly protect her, right? But also her not doing that says she ain't really feeling me like that.
Yeah.
She don't really like me like that.
And I get, it was a first date. Maybe she's not at that stage yet. But
I get that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Question: let's just say you're out with him, right? You're on a date with a guy, and some guy comes up, takes your purse. Do you want your date to have your back?
Yeah.
So
He has to protect me.
and even if he's not ready for that yet, right? Because he shouldn't even ask you on a date if he's not going to protect you. So
Oh, this is good.
This is why you should take his arm. You see, so it may feel like I'm giving this guy too much of me, but it's more.
So he was pointing out to her that if somebody was trying to harm her or rob her, even though it's only the first date, and he don't know he's still expected to protect her. He's still expected to defend her, right? That's what her idea of chivalry. But even though it's the first date, you can put your arm in his arm and walk like you're actually connected in some way to the man. So he's gonna go the extra mile, but you got to go the extra mile too. But you don't have to. This gets good here because he's cleverly pointing things out to her.
More like I'm being cooperative to the roles that we're playing. He's going to protect me if something happens right now, and so I'm going to stand close to him. This lets the people on the outside looking in know that I'm with this man. He is taking care of me. We're out together, right?
It's like it kind of shows that you trust.
Absolutely.
I think I felt like
Trust is a big
What women get out of a date?
Okay, bingo, right there. She says, trust is a big word. When you go into anything or anywhere with anyone for any reason, we have to have one. I want to say something is, she doesn't have, but she can turn him down respectfully. Yeah. Amen. This is called being escorted. It's how you're together. Just shows a sign. I'm with you. But I wanted to talk about trust here. We will always have to trust. If she didn't trust him, let's see. Why did she go out on a date with him? Right. If she didn't trust him, why would she go out on a date with him? And then when we deal with anyone, when we deal as parents with our children, we're going to have trust. When we deal with our spouses, we're going to have trust. When you deal with leaders, there has to be trust, right? You don't even begin a relationship where there's no trust. And we can be in a position where we mistrust. Are you following me? Where our because of what others have done to us or the way other people have violated us in the past, we begin with mistrust. So we don't start even on a level playing field. We start in a deficit. We start in bankruptcy. And are you following me on that? It's not that you don't trust, you mistrust. It's not that you're at 0 or at 5, you're at -50, you're at -75. So if you're a mistrusting person and the root cause of that is what your last date did to you or what your father or mother said or did to you, then you need to get healed before you date anybody. You need to get healed before you date anybody. So check this out. When you want something valuable, you have to, let's say a homeowner. When you are interested in a home, you don't just get to tell the person, I'm interested in your home. If you're seriously thinking about purchasing a home, what do you have to do? You have to make a deposit. It's called earnest money. When I bought this house, I think I had to put down $2,000 earnest money before I even applied for a home loan, to let the seller know I'm serious about this house. And if I can get financing, I will buy this house. So I'm not saying that we should go into a relationship and give someone 100% of the cost of a relationship. Or are you following that? You don't have to have full level, I trust you 100% and I know you'll never hurt me. That would be unrealistic. But we have to start out with enough ability to trust, to give some earnest trust, to say, you aren't the one that did something to me. You aren't the one who disappointed me. You aren't the one who broke my heart. You aren't the one who did that to me. So I'm going to extend at least this much. But if you don't have any equity, earnest money. Yeah, earnest money. We had to make an earnest payment on the home before I even applied for the loan. And then we were in negotiations. We didn't close until I got the home loan approved and all of the things. See, that's a lot. If you've ever financed a home, it's a lot like financing a marriage or a relationship. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Take your time. Take your time. Every and the thing is, it took, when did I close on this? March, April. It took 60 days to close on my home from the time I put down the earnest money. And I signed the contract and had the home, had the keys. All right. And that's just 2 months to buy a house. All right. But a marriage, a relationship, even friendship, I've tried to be friends, just male or female friends, just try to be friends with them. And they have such a trust deficit, you can't have conversations. The first things that come out of your mouth, they make assumptions about what you mean by that. And it's all based on what somebody else meant by something very similar. We earn respect. We don't demand it. Mm-hmm. And my point being about as far as earnest, you can give a certain amount of trust. But if you can't go anywhere. You can give someone a certain amount of respect, in advance until they prove to you that they're disrespectful people. Okay. And you can still respect them even if they're disrespectful. Almost done here, y'all.
Is a free bodyguard. Because if anything goes wrong with her, he has to really put his life on the line for her. So if a man asks you out on a date, you shouldn't say, I'm not ready to hold your hand. I know that seems like a move forward in a relationship, so to speak, but it's actually just part of a date. Your goal is to give him an example of what it would look like if you were his partner, and his goal is to do the same. So to a man, you not doing those things makes it appear that you're not that interested.
If definitely not ready to be a partner, I guess.
It also kills his ability to be completely masculine for you on that date, because if you won't take his arm, then, you know.
I feel like when you just said like trust is a big word, it is a big word, but maybe the way I saw it is when you wanted to go out with me at all, that was you trusting me.
Right.
And it did kind of hurt a little bit. I mean, again, I can respect boundaries, but it did still.
Don't say that, man. If at all possible, don't ever say it hurt. Don't say that.
Same time, hurt my feelings if you didn't trust me.
Not like that.
And of course, as men, we're going to try to be receptive to that and understand where you're coming from. But it does kind of limit his.
I couldn't do that. I mean, I can tell you how I feel. I could tell you if I felt like that was disrespectful, but I couldn't do it like that. I could not do it like that. I would be more inclined to take something and have my wife pick up the cue. I hurt your feelings, didn't I? And me just to look and then get the answer. You know what I'm saying? When you know somebody, you know when you hurt their feelings. They suddenly became quiet. You know? Or body, you know someone that well, their body posture just changes a little bit. Their shoulders went like that. You know you just disrespected him or her. I mean, you know that I think it's like 80% of communication is nonverbal. You know. I mean, a person who has empathy knows.
Ability to do his full, be his full masculine self in that capacity, right?
Yeah.
The last thing I had here was intellectual stimulation, right? So we like when a woman can respond back and be attentive, right?
Yeah.
Have a good conversation, right? We look for that in women. And I definitely think she appeared to have that. You guys started off on it was a little difficult conversation, but it seems like she understood you. She was receptive to what you were saying. Is that typical for you?
Well, typically a lot of the girls that I met, as I said, like they're literally only trying to date to date or to like have, I don't know, I'm allowed to use the word fuck buddy.
Yeah, sure. We're in a hookup culture.
We're in a hookup culture, exactly. And so like
I didn't know that. I didn't see that coming up. So sorry about that, y'all. Yeah. What he said. That a lot of people, that's all they're in it for. They don't want something serious. Many people today, and there was a day and age when men thought of their masculinity by their body count. They thought they were more of a man by how many women they had been with. But now in this day, and this is the way we're flipping. See, we're flipping the script. There's more women. There is as many women who think their femininity is rated by their body count as there are men. And it may be tipping the scales the other direction among worldly women, not in the church.
They're just looking for that. And so it's like, sometimes it's not necessarily about the values or anything like that. Maybe it's like more small talk, maybe sometimes it's
beep. I wish I'd known to beep that out, sis. Sorry about that.
feels like it's something that'll take more time to get her to open up or something like that. Where at the end of the day, they don't want a second date because we haven't gotten to know each other. And that to me sounds so irritating because you didn't want to get to know, we didn't get to know each other.
I'm sorry, but it's not about knowing each other. And I mean, even if you take it slow, if they don't want a second date, it's not because they don't know you. It's because they're not interested. Just let it go. Just let it go. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. The more time you waste with someone who's not interested, the less time you have to serve the Lord and to be faithful to the Lord. I like how it says in, I think a man should be busy. I think a man is meant to be working and be busy. And even this, this isn't exegesis, but when God gave Adam a job, and he said what? Name all the animals. All right. Name the animals. And Adam named the animals. And whatever he named them, God was in agreement. So what did Adam have before Eve came? Adam had a godly worldview. The way that Adam saw and named things agreed with how God saw things. Okay? Are you following me? He had a biblical worldview. There was no disagreement between Adam and God. They were in complete agreement. After he had named or framed his world in a way that was in agreement with God, God put Adam to sleep. I think a man should be resting, not going. I don't think a man should be pursuing like this. I think a man should be working and resting, and suddenly he wakes up and God brought Eve to him. God brought his rib and put her right in front of him. But this stalking, no, I don't think stalking is good.
Because they wouldn't want to stop.
Absolutely.
So it's like,
I completely understand. So as a man dating with intent, you're ending up in these situations where a lot of times you're in hookup culture. And so you're not getting a second date out of it. Meanwhile, here you are, you have spent your money, you spent time with this person who you're never going to likely see again.
Yeah.
Right? Women oftentimes are looking at dates as what they can get out of them, right? And experience, right? Take me to a nice rrestaurant. I want the ambiance. I want the treatment, right? And with no intent of doing anything special for the guy after the date. So it's almost like it's almost like she's getting over on him, right? Like she's using him for meals. And that's what men say. I'm not going to keep taking these women out if they don't like me. Don't go out if you don't like me, because then it wouldn't end up where he's on the outside looking into the thing. What do women say oftentimes when he's upset? I took you to this restaurant, I did that, and now you don't want to get close to me, you're not ready. And she's like, well, you wanted to do it. She will let him spend, knowing she's not interested in this man. Now, do you feel that's wrong?
No, I don't like users. So.
Oh, you hear that? She'll let him spend, knowing she's not interested. Do you feel that's wrong?
She will let him spend, knowing she's not interested in this man. Now, do you feel that's wrong?
No, I don't like users. So, I mean,
she got ready to say no, it's not wrong. She ain't got no repentance going on. None. She ain't repented at all. Maybe she's learned to act a little differently, but she hasn't become a different person.
I do think I think that we're all adults and there's enough of every type out here to where that's not even necessary. Like there are men that really will just spend money on you.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a certain type. There's things that go with that, but there are, men that'll just spend money on you and are okay with that. But
and that, my friends, is the reason why we have this problem. It's not. You could say it's in the women, but it's not. It's in the men. It's in the weak-willed, simpy, silly, feminized men. Learn what no means. Learn to say no. You have to have the fear of man is a snare, right? You've heard that? The Bible says the fear of man is a snare. But if you're afraid of saying no to a woman, yeah, I'm sorry. Ladies, men don't like to say no. But what was Adam's problem? Where did the fall begin? I've said it before, I'll say it again. The whole world went to hell when one man remained silent. One man's silence brought the whole thing down. And more or less, the man was responsible and accountable for being silent. The Bible says, let your yes be yes and let your no be no. Yeah, I take a lot of flack for that because I'll say no. I'll say no. We're not doing that. No, it's not going to be that way. I won't be gaslit. I'll say, no, that's not how it happened. Let's resolve this. I'm big on resolution. I'm not big on redefining reality. I'm not big on gaslighting.
What do you take from that type of man, if you don't mind me asking? We call that a simp.
Okay.
And we call it a simp when a man is willing to buy you anything, take you anywhere, and you haven't actually earned that from him with your affection or just being there for him in general. How do you see that?
If women are being really honest, I don't think most women actually respect a man that is like that. And I think there's two different types. There's the ones that will spend money on and they're objective.
And then that's the cause of divorce. That's the cause of many things. The lack of respect. I mean, I'm not trying to shame no brothers. And I know the culture is trying to teach men to be simpy and weak and, happy wife, happy life. I've heard happy spouse, happy house. There you go. And it isn't even really about happiness. It's really about being a person who lives on pursuing being who God has created us to be and told us to be. A wife's devotion to the Lord is a beautiful thing. Proverbs 31 woman, but a man who's committed to love his wife as Christ loved the church. And guess what? Christ's love of the church includes includes not now. And it includes some amount of uncertainty. Sometimes you get a no and you don't know if it's ever going to change. So maybe later. Wow, it's so much in the scriptures. It's so much in the scriptures, so much in parenting. If you don't teach your children to respect no, how are they going to respect no and respect and set boundaries when they're older?
To find the woman and she's just like a toy for them.
Right.
And then there's the ones that really are
trying to buy his way in, just trying his best to earn any type of affection from her.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of those. There's a lot of those women who allow that to happen, right? So that's why I take what Jay doing here as being something that is great for men everywhere. Okay, he knew his worth.
Oh, I love that, Rachel.
You know what?
I love that, Rachel. Rachel said here, worshiping the idea of marriage, etc. That is a problem. You worship the idea of marriage more than the role that you have to participate in it. There's a lot of people who like the idea of being married, but they've never set out to even discover what their role in marriage is expected to be. Or they've never set out to and prayed and said, Lord, create in me the person I need to be a wife or to be a husband. It's so much in every man needs a vision for his life. Every man needs values for his life. And that greatest value is going to be Christ. The greatest value a man can bring to the table is that he values and honors and loves the Lord. Without that, he has no compass. He has no moral compass if he doesn't have Christ.
I don't have to do this. Even to the point when you said, I will go eat with you at Cheesecake Factory. He saw it as, I would have set aside the date, right? Us being late to that reservation. You're not holding my hand. You're not talking to me in the car. But it seems that you pulling out that camera really, really got to him. Do you mind telling me what you probably took by that? You're just on a date and all of a sudden now she's recording you.
A lot of times.
Watch how masterfully he does this. This is another masterful way that he points something out to her.
Yeah, if I'm the one asking a girl out, that's me already offering to pay for the meal, right? That's me already being okay with that, right? But her recording me did feel like that's where I felt like she was trying to take advantage. She was trying to and maybe you had a different view on it, but it felt like at the time that you were just trying to get food, like a free meal from a fancy restaurant, and then you get content from me too to post on YouTube, Facebook.
And you get your reputation ran through the mud. So it's all be done at your expense, right? Now, that wasn't your take. You have many groups where you encourage women on dating, y'all talk about dating, and this was something that you said, look, y'all see a lot of dates go wrong.
Right.
So based on your mindset, you really felt like he was taking you somewhere beneath your value.
Yeah.
And you were saying, I'm gonna show the world how you're treating me, right? Can you tell us a bit about that so he knows that, it wasn't to embarrass you, it wasn't to get content, any of that. It was I felt wronged in that scenario. You mind?
No, I did. I felt like you didn't see my value. And in that moment I felt like I needed the support of my viewers.
I felt like you didn't see my value and I needed the support of my viewers. Yeah, if you knew your value, you would feel as valuable in Taco Bell or McDonald's or Cheesecake Factory as in, I forget what the name of that place was. She gives us a master class on how to ruin a date. Yep, exactly.
In that moment. And not only that, like he said, I discuss relationships and things like that. So I thought that was a good opportunity for me to kind of have that conversation and see, like, what does everybody else think? I wasn't really taking your feelings into consideration. I wasn't trying to be necessarily malicious or anything like that.
I understand.
Good. I'm gonna say this, guys, to end this video, okay? In a world with hookup culture, not having much understanding on relationships based on how we're raised, and then you got social media with the instant gratification and making it so easily to meet people and replace people. Dating it's like a thing that's lost to us. I want to ask these two beautiful people here a question. They had one date that went bad. They have not went on a date since that day, right? Now, would you guys be open to another date, knowing what you know now?
I think
if we were able to find a way to get our values more in the center, I could see us trying again.
I mean, yeah, I would be willing to go out on a date again.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Listen, we want to keep up with this first date.
I did not go this far in the video. I had no idea that both these two would consider a date. I'm worried for this man, you know. Pray for Jay, okay? I'm not seeing what needs. See, this is, I think, how you could be delusional. All the evidence has already been proven, and I think he's overlooked the evidence that has been displayed in this interview. He's overlooked some major red flags in this interview.
Actually, we're going to take care of this first date. It's going to be on us. So we're going to send you somewhere just like they used to do on all those other talk shows. We're going to take care of it. And then we'll reach back to you guys in a couple of weeks and find out how that's going. How does that sound? I'd love to see what you guys are up to.
As long as it's not the cheesecake now.
Look, she ain't joking. She is not joking. That's not a joke. We need some demon slayers, y'all. That is not a joke. That is not a joke, Jay. She meant that. Jay's laughing, but the laugh's going to be on you, Jay.
She's funny, man.
Yeah.
Guys.
She's serious. She's not funny. She's serious. Oh, wow. All right, y'all. It's been real. It's been real. Let me see if I'm up on all these comments here. Wow. Respect for others, common decency. That was sorely missing. So he has to constantly spend a lot of money on her. That's not cool. That's not cool, and that's not a way to that's not a way to build a relationship. Because in my life, my father was on. She didn't learn her lesson. No, my father was a union worker in a factory, and they were prone to go on strike to try to earn, try to get the wages up. And there were times when, as a family, we had to eat literally beans, brown beans, canned goods that were canned, and down in the basement from canning from our garden. I mean, we were in survival mode, and if you don't have someone who's willing to stick with you, if it's about money, what do you do in adversity when it's about money? What do you do in a health crisis when it's about money? Even there's all kinds of ways this works both for men and women. What if it's all about your body? What happens when you get older? If it's all about your athleticism, what happens if you have a disability or something happens to you? Watch out for that narcissism. I made bean soup for dinner today. So delicious. Yep, I've reached my limit, y'all. So it's all those signs of narcissism. What you got here? Grandiosity. What's the next one? Grandiosity, a lack of empathy, arrogance, manipulativeness, lack of accountability, envy, exploitation, lack of boundaries. That's 8. What's the 9th one? Lack of self-awareness. Those are the 9 symptoms to diagnose a narcissist. I was accused of being 1%er because I suggested keeping a vegetable garden. Seriously, I was insane. I was accused of being a what? A what, Susie Q? A 1%er. A keeper? I don't even get that. I can't read that. I do canning as a hobby. Yeah, we lived on canned goods. The garden gangster. You're so rebellious. Yeah, it's good to be able to go through and have somebody there that goes through adversity with you. So along with the person, watching how the person treats the wait staff in a restaurant or something like that when you go out, or how they treat people who are in the service industry. Do they treat them like they're superior to them and they're inferior? Additionally to that, check out the roots. Check out the roots. Did this person come from a family who stuck together through all types of adversarial conditions like that? Did this person, check the root, because the fruit will be found in the root. And okay. All right, y'all. It's been a nice long stream. Thanks for hanging out with me. Like, subscribe, and share if you care. Grace, peace, and love in Jesus' name. And I think there was supposed to be a live last night with Sister Jarena and Sister V, and I think it's rescheduled for tomorrow. So until next time, I'll probably try to hop on that live, and I'll see you there. Until next time, grace, peace, and love in Jesus' mighty name.